Hey, it's Laura Stylez. I'm a media personality and entrepreneur. I was born in the United States, but many of you don't know this, but my parents are Guatemalan. This is not something I really get to talk about too much, so it's actually a treat to be able to share with you some of my family history and traditions and my culture. So my parents actually met in Los Angeles, I think like in the 60s or 70s. And they both are from Guatemala, different parts of Guatemala. But they had one thing in common, which was coming to the United States in search for a better life. As a first generation Guatemalan child, I think one thing I could share with other immigrant kids, that we're always looking for like community. And what I mean by community, we're always trying to fit in, right? So I remember, yes, being proud of being Latino, of course, but not necessarily always proud to share, like, I'm Guatemalan, you know what I mean? Because we were just looked at in a different way. And I never wanted to be isolated, so I was more focused on my American experience. My neighbors were Mexican, my other neighbors were Belizean and West Indian. And even though we all had, similarities in like food and some of the customs and maybe religion, we were definitely different. And I remember not kind of rejecting, my mom's like Guatemalan food, because like, no, I want to have pizza and I want to have, burgers, and I didn't want to accept it until later on, where I was like, what the hell am I doing? It's delicious. It's something that defines who I am. And until my parents decided one day, when after they became US citizens, they were like, look, we're gonna go back home. We're gonna go to Guatemala so we can show you where your family's from and why these foods are so important to us. But Guatemala was so special because I remember one year he was like, I'm gonna take you to somewhere that's gonna change your life. And we went to a trip to the outback of Guatemala called Tikal, which is where all the ancient ruins are. And one of the most life-changing experiences of my life is really feeling the energy and understanding, like, this is where my family lineage is, like, this is where we came from. And I still have I have some photos that I've dug up of me like in my little like 501 jeans, like thinking I'm cute, but standing in front of one of these ancient ruins. And I remember climbing with my dad and him telling me like, this is where we're from, and saying a prayer, and me seeing life in a completely different way, because it was this insane energy and a way of understanding. And that's something that I always hold dear to my heart, because it really bonded our family in a completely different way. The people are incredibly loving and resilient and very proud of who they are. So it was really a culture shock for me when I went back home and really started digging deep on how complex Guatemala really is. But at the same time, it's so incredible. Like, man, everyone that I know who's gone to visit, they're like, wow, like they come back like, I never knew that Guatemala had so much to offer. I think it's one of the places that tourism isn't extremely popular, but when you go from the ancient, like towns and when you go visit the rainforest, or when you go up into the mountains and you go to the volcanoes, and Guatemala has offered some of the most beautiful like hot springs, and there's so much to do and so much to discover, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. Hey, my name is Laura Stylez, and I'm super excited to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month with you guys, and sharing my story, my family story, and just being proud to be Guatemalan.